Hey, Brad. Hey, did you want us to be able to start our videos?
Oh yeah, actually you probably
Okay.
do have that. Okay, I think you should be able to do that. Yeah, there we go. No, Amanda's running a few minutes late. I think Mike should be on soon. I think we have everybody but Mike. He should be on soon.
Hey, Brad, are we still waiting on anybody? You're
I
muted.
think you are the last one, so I think we can get started.
Cool.
The court reporter's on, and so it's Nicole. So
All right. Then I guess I'll go. Do we like is our participant room ready, attendees and everybody?
yes, I said all our applicants are present for their cases. So and just to note to the applicants, once we call your case, we'll admit you to the meeting so you can speak to the commission. Otherwise, just raise your hand if you want to testify to a case.
Okay, very good. All right, well, we'll get started. Good morning and welcome to the July 24th, 2020 hearing of the Kansas City Historic Preservation Commission. My name is Mike Harden, I'm the chair, and I am joined today by, in the order I see them on my screen, fellow commissioners Sarah Legg, Dr. Walter Guth, Amber Courtney, Sean Owens, and Vice Chair Amanda Laughlin. We'll begin today by swearing in staff. Mr. Wolf, will you please raise your right hand and for the oath? Do you sort of tell the whole truth, the absolute truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Very good. Mr. Wolf will now proceed with a reading of the docket.
Before you are the minutes from the June 11th and June 26th meetings of the commission for your review and approval.
Excellent. If all of my fellow commissioners could please take a moment, review those. If there are any corrections that need to be made, please so note them. If not, I would love a motion by hearing, so not one for both, but one each, to include them into the record. And fellow commissioners, if you don't mind just raising your hand in the Zoom a little panelist section whenever you're ready to speak. Vice Chair Laughlin.
I move to accept the minutes from June 11th, 2020.
Excellent. Motion has been made. Is there a second? Commissioner Courtney?
Second.
All right. If there are no objections to the motion, we'll now vote on the motion to admit the June 11th, 2020 minutes into the record of this board, of this commission, rather. Sorry. All those in favor, say aye. We'll go in order of who I see on the screen. Commissioner Legg?
Aye.
Dr. Guth?
Aye.
Commissioner Courtney?
Aye.
Commissioner Owens?
Aye.
And Vice Chair Laughlin?
Aye.
Excellent. They're so admitted. I'm now looking for a motion to admit the June 26th, 2020 minutes into our official record. Vice Chair Laughlin.
I'll move to accept the minutes from the June 26, 2020 meeting.
Excellent. Second, Commissioner Legg.
Second.
Very good. Motion has been made and seconded to accept the June 26, 2020 minutes into the official record of this commission. All those in favor, we'll go through again, name by name. Commissioner Legg.
Aye.
Dr. Guth.
Aye.
Commissioner Courtney.
Aye.
Commissioner Owens.
Aye.
And Vice Chair Laughlin.
Aye.
Very good. This does pass and they're so admitted. Mr. Wolf?
There were 6 cases approved administratively. Most were either minor changes, renewals of an application with no changes, or to a non-contributing property. And then for the cases to be heard and reviewed today, the first case, CH-DR.2020-00046, 4714 Holmes. The applicant has requested this be dismissed from the docket. Could we have a motion to that effect?
All right, looking for you. Someone can just say so moved.
So moved.
All right, very good. So moved by Commissioner Legg, and Dr. Guth, would you like to second? Okay.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Legg and seconded by Dr. Guth to dismiss the aforementioned case. If there's no discussion on the motion, we will again go in order. Commissioner Legg, how do you vote?
Aye.
Dr. Guth, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Courtney, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Owens, how do you vote?
Aye.
And Vice Chair Laughlin, how do you vote?
Aye.
I also vote aye. This passes by a vote of 6-0. Mr. Wolf?
For the cases to be reviewed today, the first case will be CH-DR.2020-00052, 514 Bellefontaine Avenue. The applicants are present and staff is ready to proceed. Case number CH-DR.2020-00056, 34 West 53rd Terrace. The applicants are present and staff is ready to proceed. Case number CH-DR-2020-00057, 3200 Carnes Boulevard. The applicants are present and staff is ready to proceed. Case number CH-DR.2020-00058, 328 Summit Street. The applicants are present and staff is ready to proceed. And case number CH-DR.2020-00059, 4464 Rock Hill Terrace. The applicants are present and staff is ready to proceed. And we will hold the rest of the 106 later in the docket.
All right, very good. All right, Mr. Wolf, if we are so ready to proceed, I will call case number CH-DR-2020-00052 concerning 514 Bellefontaine Avenue in the Scarrett Point Park Historic District.
So, sure, we should have Bob Luke and Jacob Luke, property owner and the applicants. I've promoted into the panelist position.
Okay. There we go. Wait for them to fully join. Mr. Luke, whenever you have a second, if you can turn on your cameras and your microphone so we can confirm that it is you and we can swear you in.
Okay, I think I'm unmuted. Here I am.
Good. Very good. We'll go with Mr. Bob Luke. Can you please state your name and address for the record?
Sure, Bob Luke. I'm appearing for my son, Jacob Luke, who owns the property at 514 Bellefontaine.
And your address or an address of record?
My home address is Overland Park, Kansas, 13900 Canaan Street, Overland Park, Kansas.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Luke. And Mr. Jacob Luke, will you please state your name and address for the record?
Jacob couldn't be with us today. Oh, I'm sorry. You're on.
Bellefonte. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Kansas City, Missouri, 64124.
All right, very good. So, Mr. Luke, if you could both please raise your right hand for the oath. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
I do.
Very good. Mr. Wolf, the staff report lists exhibits A through
T.
A through T, you said, or P?
Yes, T.
A through T as in Tom. Are there any new exhibits for the record?
There are no new exhibits.
All right. Is there any opposition to admitting exhibits A through T for the record? Hearing none from my fellow commissioners, they are so admitted. Mr. Wolf, we will proceed with the staff report.
The property address is 514 Bellefontaine Avenue. It's a contributing property in the Scarrett Point Historic District. Here's the main front facade, which faces east onto Bellefontaine. This kind of shows the north side of the house. That actually is the neighbor's driveway you're looking at there. And this is the south side of the house. This is looking north along Bellefontaine. It's basically a series of relatively similar styled houses. And this is across the street. So the applicant's proposing to construct a new driveway, approximately 10 feet in width, back to the rear corner of the, almost to the rear corner of the house, about 70 feet, 5 feet from the sidewalk. The stone porch, which extends out beyond the edge of the house, will basically be deconstructed, and then basically the pillar will basically be moved back to this corner, and the wall reconstructed using the existing stone. Staff did pull the 1940 photograph. Obviously, the porch is there, was pictured in that, but also staff went back and looked at the Sanborn maps. As you can see, the 1896, which was not too long after the house was built, does show a porch there that does not extend beyond the footprint of the house. And then the basically the 1909. It's interesting, even by that point, you can see at the north end of the block, they'd actually have started actually constructing garages. Most likely driveways were added at that point also. One thing interesting about this block is most of the porches have been replaced over time. Staff did go back and look at the 1940s photograph. This is probably one of the original style porches on it, these houses. You can see they were probably a little bit more Queen Anne with turn spindles and frieze work. So in general, the single car driveway is appropriate to the district and the style of the house and will not alter any significant spaces in conformance with standards 2 and 9, and it can be removed in the future without harming the integrity of the property in conformance with standard number 10. The porch appears in the 1940 photographs, but is most likely not original. While the porch is over 50 years old, removal of a portion of the porch and reconstructing it will maintain the look of the existing porch and reuse the existing materials in conformance with standards 2, 3, and 9. And that concludes the staff report.
I have to unmute myself before I talk. All right, very good. Thank you, Mr. Wolf. I see, we'll say, are there any questions for staff? But I see that Commissioner Owens is already on deck. Commissioner Owens?
Hi, quick question. The new porch wall, is that to be constructed out of the salvage stone or at least a similar type of stone? Do you know what the plan is?
They're proposing to salvage the stone, basically reconstruct it using the existing stone, since they actually have quite a bit since they're removing a section. So they should be able to, between the salvage, get enough stone to reconstruct it.
Okay, thank you.
Very good. Vice Chair Laughlin?
Yeah, I just had a question. It's more, is there an alley? Like, what is this backing up to? Is there an alley back there? I'm just curious.
No, actually, there really isn't anything back there. It actually drops off a little bit. It's actually not too far from, if you're familiar with Chestnut Trafficway that goes down into the East Bottoms. So it's actually, it's not right up against that, but it basically is where that starts dropping off. So no, there isn't an alleyway behind it, unfortunately. So.
Thank you.
All right. Other questions for staff? Okay, if there are none, Mr. Luke, if either of you would like to testify about your project.
I'd be glad to. My son was on, Jacob, and it looks like maybe he's dropped off now.
He's actually there. Let me unmute him real quick. I think he,
Okay.
excellent. There, he's unmuted now.
All
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, we're just looking to cut the porch a little bit to make room for a driveway if possible and keep the integrity of the house, and don't want to make any major changes to it.
Okay. Any questions for either Mr. Luke? Okay. Hearing none, we'll close the floor to testimony from the applicants, and we'll allow for anybody who is at this time a member of the audience who would like to testify. Mr. Wolf, I believe there is one.
Yep, let me promote her in the panelists. It's Lisa Lopez. She should be coming on here. There she is.
All right, Ms. Lopez, if you can turn on your camera and unmute yourself as soon as you are able so we can swear you in.
There we go. We got some video going.
And microphone.
Trying to get it unmuted here. Ms. Lopez, do you have your microphone unmuted? There we go.
Are you there?
All right. All right, Ms. Lopez, good morning. If you
Good
can
morning. How
please,
you doing today?
doing very well, thank you. If you can please state your name and address for the record.
Hi, my name is Lisa Lopez.
And your address.
is, his address is 907 West 32nd Street.
Okay, and if you
to-
can please, oh, sorry, hold on. If you can please raise your right hand for the oath. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I
Very
do.
good. Ms. Lopez, what is your testimony?
Yes, my testimony is that trying to figure out how they're gonna build a driveway versus a them little the little buildings that like a little garage. How are they gonna do that? Are they gonna take away my tree, my grandfather's tree in his property? What, because the tree, it's a huge tree. I'm on the 7 West 32nd Street.
Oh, Miss Lopez, were you here to
Yes.
talk about the property on Carnes, the new garage?
Yes.
Oh, we're on a different case right now.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay,
Ver-
no, that's fine.
very
It's a little
good,
bit
no
further
worries.
down on the docket. So,
We will see you in a couple cases.
Oh, okay.
okay, we'll put
Thank
you
you,
back
Ms.
down into
Lopez.
the attendees real quickly. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Right. Very good. So is there any other member of the audience who would like to testify? This time going once, going twice, sold. All right. No members of the audience who would like to testify, so we'll close the floor to further public testimony and allow for an opportunity for discussion amongst the commission or perhaps a motion. Commissioner Owens,
Assuming nobody else has anything to discuss, I'd like to make a motion.
please.
Okay. In case number CHDR 2020-00052 for 514 Bellefontaine Avenue within the Scarrett Point Historic District, I move that the commission recommend to issue a certificate of appropriateness because the proposal to construct a driveway and remove and rebuild a portion of the porch as it is in conformance with the Secretary of Interior's standards for rehabilitations numbers 2, 3, 9, and 10.
Very good. Motion has been made in this matter. Dr. Guth, you already had your hand up.
Second.
Very good. Motion has been made by Commissioner Owens and seconded by Dr. Guth. Is there any discussion on the motion? Okay. Hearing none, we will go in order. Commissioner Legge, how do you vote?
Aye.
Dr. Guth, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Courtney, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Owens, how do you vote?
Aye.
Vice Chair Lachlan, how do you vote?
Aye.
And I vote aye as well. That is by a vote of 6-0. This does pass. Mr. Zluke, very good luck with your project, and thank you for making the time.
Thank you very much.
Have a wonderful
Thank
day.
you.
All right, Mr. Wolf, what case am I calling next?
Case number CH-DR.2020.00056.
All right, it is so called concerning 34 West 53rd Terrace in the Simpson Yeomans Countryside Historic District.
Let me admit the panelist. We have, I think, two here. Dale Scott, the contractor, and Jill Bechtel, the property owner.
All right, Mr. Scott, Ms. Bechtel, if you can please unmute yourselves and turn your cameras on, we will swear you in. We'll start with Ms. Bechtel since she is here. Ms. Bechtel, can you please state your name and address for the record? Oh, I think you might need to enable your microphone. It should be at the bottom left of your screen. Right?
Can you hear me?
Yes, there we go. All right, Ms. Bechtel, name and address for the record.
Yes, my name is Jill Bechtel and our address is 34 West 53rd Terrace.
Very good. Can you raise your right hand for the oath?
Yes,
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Very good. Mr. Scott, can you turn on your camera and microphone so we can swear you in as well? Perhaps. Ms. Roulette, is it acceptable for us to move
Yes.
forward with Ms. Bechtel and just swear Mr. Scott in as soon as he becomes available?
Yeah, I think that would be fine.
Okay. Very good. So noted. Mr. Wolf, the staff report lists exhibits A through.
A through O.
Very good. Are there any new exhibits for the record?
There are no new exhibits.
All right. Is there any opposition to admitting exhibits A through O? Seeing none from my fellow commissioners, they are so admitted, and we'll proceed with the staff report. Mr. Wolf.
The property address is 34 West 53rd Terrace. It's a contributing property in the Simpson Yeoman's Countryside Historic District. This is the main facade of the house. It faces south. As you can see, there's actually porches on both sides. You can see on the basically what is the east side, there's a 2-story porch with enclosed area at the top, which is really the inspiration for what they propose to do on the other side, which may have some historic portions, but it's mostly an altered porch that's been added to and changed over time. The applicant's basically proposing to add a 2nd story, kind of reflecting the porch on the other side of the house with 8/1 and 6/1 double hung windows. The existing 1st stories, they're also planning to add windows to the basically the front south facade to make it more light. It's currently just a blank stucco wall. This is the west side of the elevation of the house. They also will be adding a 1-story mudroom addition off the rear or north side of the house, off the existing addition. And this is the north elevation. As you can see, they'll be removing a utility chimney, but it's not visible from the public right of way. The new addition will be clad in stucco to match the existing house and painted in the existing color scheme. The house sits mid-blocks, and the addition to the 2nd story will complete a symmetrical facade for the home. The proposed 2nd story and rear additions will not remove any distinctive features and conform to standard 2. The proposed addition will use compatible materials, features, proportions, and massing, as well as other houses in the district, and conforms with standard number 9 in the design guidelines. Furthermore, the addition can be removed in the future without destroying any distinctive features and conforms with standard number 10. And the removal and installation of windows on the existing side addition will be compatible with the house and will not remove any historic features and conform to standards 2 and 9. And that concludes the staff report.
Man, every time it's gonna be one of those days. All right. Keep forgetting to unmute myself. Very good, Mr. Wolf. Thank you. Are there any questions for Mr. Wolf? Commissioner Owens?
Quick question. It appears that the new windows on the left side are a bit taller than the 2nd story windows on the opposite porch. Do you know if that is that the proposal, or is that just because the sketch is misleading?
I think they are. Let me go back to the. I think it's partially because they're actually trying to match the height of the existing windows on the house, where the other porch, they're actually slightly smaller, if you can see there.
Sure. Okay.
I think they're trying to make them in proportion to the existing windows on the house.
Got it. Okay, that makes sense. Thanks.
Very good. Vice Chair Laughlin?
Yeah, just a point of clarification. On the applicant, it says that it's Christopher and Jill Campbell, and so I just wanted to make sure that her name, Bechtel, is on that.
Yes, so this is Jill. I apologize for the confusion. I actually legally never changed my maiden name for work purposes. So legally, I'm Jill Bechtel, but in the neighborhood, I'm known as Jill Campbell. I hope that makes sense.
Yes.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that that your name is proper on the applicant for you. So
Great, thank you.
Excellent. Other questions for staff?
Just to note, it looks like Mr. Scott's unmuted now.
Right. Mr. Scott, would you like to state your name and address for the record so we can swear you in? You might have to turn on your microphone in the bottom left corner. Or like allow access rather. There should be. And we'll check back in with Mr. Scott in a second. If there are no further questions for staff, allow Ms. Bechtel an opportunity to testify about her project. Ms. Bechtel?
Sure. So I'm not sure that I have too much to add to the report. I would just add that, our goal is to improve the property, and we love the historic character of the home and the neighborhood. And so we're trying to increase or improve its function for our family while retaining as much of the historic character as possible. And in fact, with the addition of the window in the front stucco wall, we currently have landscaping in place trying to sort of hide that wall because we feel like it doesn't look appropriate for the house. So our hope and goal is that this will just help improve the property and retain its character.
Very good. All right, Ms. Bechtel, thank you very much. Does anybody have any questions for the applicant? Commissioner Owens?
Just a question on the windows. What type of material are you planning the windows to be made out of? Vinyl windows or wood or?
Oh, yes. So we intend for them to be wood and to look, as much as possible like what the original windows look like. So that's the goal.
Okay, good news. Thank you.
Excellent. Any other questions for the applicant? Okay. Vice Chair Laughlin.
Yeah, just a comment that I totally, when I saw this, I agree that there should be windows in that front facing wall towards the street. So that I like that. So I'm glad that that's part of the upgrade to the building.
Excellent. Thank you, Vice Chair Laughlin. Any other questions for the applicant or testimony? Going once, going twice, sold. Is there any member of the audience who would like to testify? If so, at this time, please raise your hand in the attendees panel. Seeing none, we'll go ahead and close the floor to further testimony. Allow for an opportunity for discussion amongst the commission or perhaps a motion. Commissioner Courtney.
I'll make a motion if no one has any discussion on this. In case number CHDR 20200056 34 West 53rd Terrace, I move that the commission offer a certificate of appropriateness to construct a side and rear addition, remove chimney, repair the exterior, and replace windows on the side addition that's as it is in conformance with the Secretary of the Interior Standards for Rehabilitation number 2, 9, and 10.
Very good. Mr. Wolf, was 5 in there also, or is it just 2, 9, and 10?
I just have 2, 9, and 10.
Okay, very good. Commissioner Courtney, thank you. It is so moved. Dr. Guth?
Do we need to add that this is in the Simpson-Yeoman Countryside Historic District?
Well, yes, we will note that for the record. And are you able to offer a second as well?
I will.
Very good. Motion has been made by Commissioner Courtney, seconded by Dr. Guth, with the note that this is inside the Simpson-Yeoman / Countryside Historic District. Is there any discussion on the motion? Okay. Hearing none, we'll go in order again. Commissioner Legg, how do you vote?
Aye.
Dr. Guth, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Courtney, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Owens, how do you vote?
Aye. Aye.
And Vice Chair Laughlin, how do you vote?
Aye.
And I also vote aye. By a vote of 6-0, this does pass. Ms. Bechtel, Mr. Scott, thank you for joining us today. Ms. Bechtel, very good luck to you and your husband with your project, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. All right. Mr. Wolf, what case am I now calling?
Case number 2020-HUD-0057.
All right, concerning 3200 Collins Boulevard in the Coleman Highlands Historic District. It is so called. It's the applicant, Commissioner Courtney, I see your hand is up.
Let's see here, let me.
Sorry, I just left it up. I'll put it down.
Okay, no worries. All right, if the applicant is present, let's promote them into panelists and we'll move forward with the application.
So project architects here. I need to check and see if there's anybody else.
So I see.
There we go.
Okay. All right.
Can you hear us?
Mr. Woods, good morning.
Good
Can you both please state your name and address for the record one at a time?
Stephen Woods, 42 West 73rd Terrace, Kansas City, Missouri, 64114.
Thank you. And you, sir?
Chris Woods, 5728 Central, Kansas City, Missouri.
Very good. All right. Gentlemen, will you please raise your right hand for the oath? You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
I do.
Very good. Mr. Wolf, the staff report lists exhibits A through.
There's one new exhibit, Exhibit P, garage door product sheet, which I'll show you in the presentation.
All right. Is there any opposition to admitting exhibits A through P for the record? Okay. Hearing none, they are so admitted, and we will proceed with the staff report. Mr. Wolf.
The property address is 3200 Carnes Boulevard. It's a contributing property in the Coleman Highlands Historic District. It's basically at the corner of 32nd Street and Carnes. This is the main facade facing 32nd. And this is the north facade facing, main facade facing Carnes. This is the north facade facing 32nd Street. And basically this is the backyard where they're proposing to construct a garage. This is looking north across the street on 32nd Street. There's a couple of garages. One on the left is actually an original garage, and the one on the right was actually approved by the commission a number of years ago. And this is the streetscape along 32nd Street to the west of the project site. So for the site plan, you can see basically proposing to construct a garage in the rear of the property. It'll basically be in the southwest corner of the lot, basically all the way back on the lot. Basically due to the grade, they will be basically be partially below grade with basically concrete retaining walls on either side that will slowly slope down to the street level. The front facade of it will be clad in brick that's similar to the existing on the house, and stucco with decorative half timbering in the gable end on the main facade, which faces north. The other three facades will be clad in basically smart lap siding. And then there will be also a composition shingle roof with similar coloring to the tile roof on the house. For the garage door, which was not originally submitted, the applicant is proposing to do a double wide garage door, basically in a style that simulates two individual garage doors. Garages in Coleman Highlands are generally two-car detached with hipped roofs or 1.5-story gable roofs. The garages are mostly located in the rear yards with carriage-style doors. The size and massing of this garage is appropriate to other garages in the district and conforms with standard number 2. The new garage will be clad in stucco and lap siding and will be compatible with the house in conformance with standard number 9. And if removed in the future, the essential form and integrity of the property will be intact and conforms to standard number 10. Generally on garages where both doors are visible from the public right-of-way, we generally recommend 2 single-car garage doors to better emulate garage door patterns in the early 20th century. The proposed single garage double wide door would not reflect this in partial violation of number 9, staff would generally recommend using 2 individual garage doors. That concludes the staff report.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Wolf. Questions for Mr. Wolf? Commissioner Owens.
Quick question. I noticed the house does have an existing garage in the basement. Do you know of any plans for the future of that space, or will that just continue to be an additional garage?
They didn't indicate they had any plans for that space. I don't know. I assume it'll just remain as either storage or garage.
Okay.
Okay. Other questions for Mr. Wolf? Okay. Mr. Wolf, I have one question, then we'll move, then Dr. Guth. So the fact that this single garage door simulates 2 garages, though, does that make it more acceptable?
It would. That'd bring it more closely into conformance. And it is obviously some of the other garages. Let me go back here. These garages, I'm not sure if they were set back as far as possible. These are a little closer to the street. This one will actually be as far back as possible on the lot, as opposed to a little bit closer to the streetscape.
Okay, very good. Dr. Guth, was that your question or?
That was my question.
Okay, very good. Great minds think alike. Commissioner Legge?
I just have a quick question about the easement on the, I guess that'd be the west side or the, yeah, west side of the garage there. Do you know, is that the property line running down the middle of the easement?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Where it's 3 feet off of each side,
Yes.
which I assume is proper zone, proper setback off a property line.
Yes.
Yeah, they've been going through the plans reviews. There might be some minor changes, but they've already started that process. So.
Okay. Very good. Any other questions for city staff? Okay. Hearing none. Mr. Woods, if you'd like to testify about the project.
Certainly. This is Chris Woods speaking. We have done everything we think we can to try to keep this garage within budget, but yet still look like the existing house. The garage door issue was raised by Mr. Wolf just a few days ago, and we've tried to respond. We can commit to having one of those double garage door emulations. We will do that. And to answer the other woman's question about the easement, we have a 6 foot wide easement there, and we are beyond that by an inch or 2.
Okay. Very good. Any questions for the applicants? Commissioner Lachlan?
Yeah, sorry, I have too many buttons. Just curious how much of the landscaping will be taken out, and it's more just a curiosity about because it's kind of dense and private looking now, and then there will be a driveway there. So I'm just kind of trying to understand what the feel of that space will be after the driveway goes in.
In that 3 foot wide space between our driveway and the property, or where are you?
Yeah, like is there going to still be a buffer, like a vegetative buffer? I guess you probably can't build on that easement, but I'm just thinking like it's very dense and very vegetated, so it's going to change the character, I guess, of that part of the yard, because all of the vegetation will be gone. But I didn't know if there was any landscaping that you guys were planning to do, or the owner was planning to do in that area.
We can commit to doing that. I think we should probably do that in concert with whatever plants are acceptable by either the commission or that particular neighborhood, but we would be choosing indigenous plants that are native to Missouri, as as much as we can. As to the species and everything, I can't really speak to that now, but the owner of the house this is a recent purchase for him, and he plans to live here for quite some time and be a contributing member of the community. So landscaping, I'm sure, is in his plans, but he hasn't identified it to us yet. But we will certainly pass on to him that we'd like to have some, especially in that buffer zone.
Yeah, I think it would just kind of soften the aesthetic a little bit, a little less suburban, but.
I agree.
Thank you.
Very good. Other questions? Commissioner Owens?
Just a couple questions. The same question I asked Brad, Mr. Wolf, I'd like to ask you two. Does the owner plan to retain the existing curb cut, driveway, and basement garage as well?
As someone mentioned earlier, we have also submitted our drawings to community planning and development for the nuts and bolts review. And in the zoning, we have found out just yesterday that we are required to have no more than 20% of the side yard area can be driveways.
Right.
And we found that out yesterday. When we add both our new driveway plus that existing driveway, we are at 27%. And so unless that can be administratively approved, we'd have to go to the BZA, or some of that or all of that existing driveway would be removed. And so our owner is out of town today, but we do understand that there are some rules to be followed with regards to how much paving can be in that side yard.
Mm-hmm.
And we commit to working those out with the city development.
I think from an aesthetic standpoint, especially with the loss of so much vegetation, personally, I would love to see the existing driveway and curb cut removed if it's not actually necessary, because walking down that street, you're just going to feel like you're crossing traffic paths constantly. Another quick question, a detail question about the design. On the facade with the brick, it appears that the brick portion sits proud of the upper portion of the garage, and there's no flashing or anything illustrated on this elevation. I was just curious how you're going to deal with water at the top of that brick. I'm supposing you're going to have flashing, it's just not shown to us.
There would be pre-finished flashing that comes down not only behind that piece of trim, but also embedded underneath the lath of the stucco.
Mm-hmm.
And it would be adhering to the wall sheathing that's behind all of that. And but I don't want it to come out all the way across and over the top of that brick and lip down. It will stop on the top of the brick and probably just protrude out from that trim about an inch. And we do have a detail, an enlarged detail in other drawings that have been submitted to city planning and development.
Okay, so the drawing actually is not misleading. It's just a different design than I was imagining, which is fine. Another just comment, it does seem like the brick portion going on top of the garage door it's only one course, a soldier course of brick. It just seems kind of flimsy, or it kind of makes it look a little bit more fake, being such a thin course of brick. I kind of wish it could be maybe beefed up a little to look like it's actually a true masonry supporting design, but that's just kind of a nitpicky detail for me personally.
Which one do you want to talk about? We were trying to match that existing north elevation of the house there, which has just one soldier course
Okay.
above that existing garage door.
Ah,
Looks like he's going to it now.
yeah, I guess you're right. I didn't notice that. So,
That was the original idea, and that was the owner's idea, because we knew we had to, try and stay in line with the existing.
yeah, I guess that is how the house is. Okay. Thank you.
Very good. Commissioner Legge?
I just have a clarification question. What was the material to be used on the retaining wall that's being added? Was that stone?
Concrete.
Okay. Other questions for the applicant? All right, there are none. We will so close the floor to further testimony from the applicant and their representatives and allow for any member of the public who would like to comment. Mr. Wolf, at this time, I believe there's two. Are you promoting
Yeah, I
them?
think they're father and daughter, so I'm going to put them both in real quick.
Okay.
It looks like there might be one other person.
Yeah. Yes, Miss Kenyon, she's the neighborhood president, so we'll have her next. I don't know if Stephen and Lisa.
Right. Lisa, if you can go ahead and unmute yourself, we will swear you in. And Stephen,
Okay.
if you can turn on, hold on, Ms. Lopez. Stephen, if you can turn on your camera and your microphone, we'll be able to swear you in too. But until you can do that, we cannot swear you in. Ms. Lopez, can you please state your name and address for the record?
My name is Lisa Lopez. My dad lives at 907 West 32nd Street.
And your address?
And my address is 4219 State Line, KCMO 64111.
Very good. Please raise your right hand for the oath. All right. Do you sort of tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Fantastic. Ms. Lopez, your testimony.
Our question is, because my dad has that 100-year, I don't know how many years old, that tree in front of their house. We're kind of anxious because I know there's got to be roots that are all the way into that yard. And how do we know once they dig in and build that garage and driveway that it does not kill my dad's tree?
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Lopez. Ms. Roulette, I know typically outside of the bounds of how we take parliamentary procedure, is it acceptable for Mr. Woods to answer that?
Yes, I think it would be helpful for if they address that.
Okay. Gentlemen?
This is Chris Woods again. I've been a residential architect in Midtown area for quite some time, and I've run up against neighboring trees and trying to protect them in the past. And in this one instance that comes to mind specifically, there was a really good, magnificent walnut tree that was essentially like right on the property line. And what we did was hand dig in that vicinity rather than just come at it with a backhoe, and establish where the main roots were. And we had to hand dig quite some time. And if we encounter those roots, then we would call in an arborist and say, hey, what do we do to help this tree out? I'm unaware of what the species of the tree is or how big it is. I see a large tree in the background up there, but I don't know if that's really the one that we're talking about. If it's the one on their property, I think it's quite a bit of, it's a long ways away. I don't think we'd really be, typically, I believe the property lines are pretty close to being right there where the telephone pole is.
I'm not an arborist either, but I will say that I would be absolutely floored if the roots for that tree in front of that porch, which is a beautiful tree, go any further than the telephone line at most. Like, I would be absolutely floored. I think they usually stop around the crown. And so I think they're probably pretty safe.
The property line goes up to where these trees are, not where that telephone pole is.
Oh gosh. Okay. Well, then I would be, I think
It's right there where all those trees are right there.
Right.
right there, and so that's where the property line in, and I know those roots go almost all the way to my dad's back. I mean, way back. They're real, because that tree is probably bigger than the house. It's looks like one of those big Christmas trees, and you see on even in my dad's yard on the side of the house, they're kind of coming up a little bit. So I mean, they go, and I mean, my dad has lived there probably 60, almost 60 years. And that tree's been there since we've been there.
Okay. Well, Ms. Lopez, it sounds like the contractors will be following this project appropriately to make sure that they do not damage the roots. So I think that is, I think that sounds good to me, especially if they'll call in an arborist also to determine if they need to any future steps. Do you have any other comments?
The only other one was because I was panicking. I couldn't get in on how they're going to put the driveway right that butts up right next to my dad's yard. And then also a garage. So is the garage going to be, I'm sorry, I didn't pay attention. I just came from the dentist and I was trying to hurry up and get on this. So I missed a little bit of it. The garage is going to be back, I guess, where that little shack is that they have in their backyard. And then the driveway is going to go flush up to that. So what type of, I know on the other side of my dad's yard, they have like a easement type. It's been there since we've been there. So just want to make sure that it has a nice easement that butts up next to my dad's yard. So his yard doesn't start to cave in or whatever.
Yes, the plans do include retaining walls to make sure that the land is preserved. Am I correct, Chris?
That is correct.
All right, very good. Ms. Lopez, do you have any other questions or comments?
I don't, and my brother, I know he had another meeting at the same time and he was going to try to get in on it. But our main concern was that tree, that if, you know, if they can't preserve it, you know, if something would happen to it, you know, just to make sure that, because it cost my dad thousands of dollars to take that tree down.
Right.
So,
I think, yeah, I absolutely hear your concern. I think they will be able to make sure that tree is preserved. Very good. Mr. Stephen Lopez, I see you are here and can you go ahead and speak to test your mic? Can you try, you might have to click the bottom left to allow access on the microphone button.
Oh, yeah. Get out of there, shakes.
well, I didn't know. Put your mask on.
No, I said we're not hearing you, Mr. Lopez.
Mr. Lopez has put in the chat. So Mr. Lopez, since we can see you and we can't hear you, Ms. Roulette, are you okay with him just stating his name and address for the record in the chat? Okay, Mr. Lopez, if you can get to the chat and just type your name and address in, and then say that you, and then when I say, do you sort of tell the truth, the whole truth, just type yes. And then I'll read your comment that you put into all panelists.
Why it's not going to match the existing money.
Okay. Stephen A. Lopez, very good. 8509 Grand Haven, very good. Mr. Lopez, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? All right, very good, Mr. Lopez. Mr. Lopez's comment is the other issue is the roof on the garage and why this would not be the same as the house. Mr. Woods, do you care to address that?
The roof, well, originally, I mean, so he has a tile roof, and the number one reason why he didn't want to go with that initially was money. But we did engineer the house. He has plans on potentially putting tile roof on there later. So we did engineer the roof with 2x8s so they can accommodate that kind of weight and that kind of load. But as far as it not matching the rest of the neighborhood, I know not every roof over there is a tiled roof. As far as the rest of the existing house, we're trying to match it as much as possible. But obviously our number one issue was trying to save some money.
Okay, very good. And I also see Mr. Lopez said he would request the roof be the same as the house to present consistency. Very good. Mr. Lopez, I appreciate your comment. Do you have any other comments to add? You just type yes or no. We'll. Looks like I think he's working on, okay, there we go. So I think, and Mr. Lopez, to manage your concern about trash during construction, I'm sure, well, one, I will say I'm sure that Mr. Woods are definitely esteemed professionals, come before this commission before, do a good job, but also that it is, well, I appreciate your concern, that's outside of our purview. So we can't address it in this. So I appreciate your comment. Mr. Wolf, anything else?
We have one more person that wants to testify. Let me go ahead and switch these attendees out and switch the other ones back in.
Mr. Wolf or Mr. Lopez, to address your one last concern before we move on. Also, we are not, it's not inside our purview to address property damage either. That's a city codes enforcement and a municipal court thing. I doubt there will be, I appreciate your concerns, Mr. Lopez and Ms. Lopez, for your father's property and for your childhood home. And I will also say that I don't see any reason why these gentlemen will end up damaging your property. But I can also say that none of that is inside of our purview. So legally, we are not allowed to address it by city code. Thank you both very much. Let's move them to attendees and move Ms. Kenyon in.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Good
Thank
morning.
you. Sorry, Zoom doesn't like my computer.
That's okay. Can you please state your name and address for the record?
Stacy Kenyon, 3420 West Coleman Road.
Very good. Ms. Kenyon, can you confirm that your right hand is raised?
Yes.
And do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Very good. All right. Ms. Kenyon, your comment?
Hi, good morning. I'm the president of the neighborhood association. I am just seeing this stuff for the first time today, the application drawings and that kind of thing. And I am not going to speak on behalf of the neighborhood necessarily because this is new information. I can't give you feedback, but I'm going to deliver questions that I have about it. Let me see. One thing, I agree with what Mr. Lopez said. I think that Spanish tile roof seems completely, I don't understand why that's not being requested here. It is consistent with the house. And I know that there's been another house in a neighborhood where somebody had leaned from going from a Spanish tile roof and changing it to composite. And you guys were great at bringing them in and helping them understand that. And I was just hoping that maybe that could be used here. So issue number one I had was with composite roof. Issue number two, also regarding the roof, is that there's wonderful details on the roof line at the eave. And yes, it's an expense, but it would be nice to see that replicated to make this look original. Number three, echoing what other people have asked about, I think it would make great sense to cover that original single car garage door to keep below the 20% threshold, and also to not make it look like a McMansion style multiple car garage situation. Third thing I wanted to point out, I guess there's going to be a retaining wall added in stone, but I do want to point out that on the original house that there's a beautiful brick retaining walls with limestone or concrete caps on them. And it would be kind of nice to see that same kind of detail used on the original house, also on the garage. And then I guess the last thing that I can remember right now is that I did want to kind of understand in terms of structure levels if the bottom of the garage and then the top of the, oh, I can't even come up with a word right now. I just want to understand if it's going to be level to where the house is now, so that the triangle is going to be level with where the first floor of the house is, or if it's going to be kind of stepped up.
Okay. For that last one, I'll let Chris, do you want to address that?
Sure, I'll do my best. When you come out of the house itself, if you would flip over to that site plan image that you have. There, okay. The rear door of the house is in the northwest corner of the existing house, and you come out onto a small stoop that takes a few steps down to the majority of the backyard, and you will still be about 5 risers above the driveway. And although our driveway does slope up the portion of the driveway that's directly in front of the garage is more flat, and then it kind of begins to go at a steeper incline. That's where the curvature of the top of the retaining wall comes into play, and it tries to match as closely as possible the natural terrain of that terrace, which you can see is kind of rounded when you look at that photograph of the front of the house. And so whether or not the eave of the garage, I think the Ms. Keegan's question is where is the eave of that garage in relation to the floor of the existing house? Is that your question? I think that was her question. It will be slightly above that. I would say about 2 feet, because we had to maintain 6 foot 8 inches of clearance for people to walk underneath the eave on the east side of the garage. And the floor of the house is about 3.5 feet up above where the ground would be, where the grade would be. And so I would believe that we would have the eave of the house would be about 3 feet higher than the floor of the house inside.
Thank
Okay.
you. And that's just without the elevation of the house next to the garage or even the edge of it. That's what I was trying to envision. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Very good. In terms of the other concerns, Ms. Kenyon, I will say that the Secretary of Interior Standards does state that false history should not be attempted to be created. And so we lean heavily on city staff and their expertise, as well as our architect for the commission, Mr. Owens, as well as our historian and historic preservationist for the commission, Ms. Laughlin, Vice Chair Laughlin, in determining when something is appropriately tied in versus appropriately different, right? Or when false history is trying to be created. And so while I understand your concerns about the roof, I will say that in this instance, I think I don't want to speak for Vice Chair Laughlin or Commissioner Owens, and I think I'll ask if they want to talk about this, and also Commissioner Legg, who has her hand up. But I will say that I think it's appropriately different, and in not hearing a concern from Mr. Wolf, I trust his judgment as well on that. Ms. Legg?
I just had a question for Mr. Wolf about precedents and adding a garage with a different style of roof. I know we've approved them in the past, and I can't off the top of my head think of an example where one is so, I guess, close to the right of way. Mostly they're in the back, so you don't see them as much. So I'm kind of curious if that's something that's been improved in the past.
Yeah, we usually, especially on new outbuildings, we don't necessarily, as I said, make them copy every detail of the house. You're right, this one is a little bit more visible. Luckily, it's not a hipped roof where you really see the nature of the, like for example, the one across the street here, where you'd have really see the nature of the roof. Luckily, it's more like the one on the left with the gable and roof. So you're really just seeing the profile more. And given the setback, I don't think the composition shingle really will basically be a detractor from the house, given its setback and everything else. So,
or even that visible.
Yeah.
I do think a little credit should be given to the architects for designing the support system for the roof so that in the future that could be something that is added to match the existing house.
Yeah, and they could even look at, if someone in the future wanted even to do the, the simulated tile, the metal type terracotta tiles that would be easily installed on that type of roof. So,
Vice Chair Lachlan.
Yeah, two things. I wanted to speak to the roof tiles. It's not uncommon for a small addition in the garage in this neighborhood to have a different type of tile. If this was something like Jansen Place where you've got these elaborate carriage houses, I would expect more to have matching tiles, but also again, it's new building. So I'm okay with composition tile. And like Brad said, it's a gable roof. It's going to be set back anyway. So you're not really going to see the materials on there. And then one other question, I see on the plans that there's a new wrought iron fence, and I was curious, obviously that's not part of what we're approving today, but I was curious about that. If that's something we'll see in the future, if that's actually being considered, and I'm just not sure.
It's a requirement. Am I unmuted?
Yes.
Yes.
Sorry about that.
No worries.
It's a code requirement that anytime that you can fall more than 30 inches, like if you were at the top of the yard at the retaining wall, if that distance that you can fall is more than 30 inches, a guardrail is required. In residential construction, a guardrail is required to be 3 foot tall. And it could be made out of lots of materials. We thought the material that fit best was a wrought iron fence. And as you know, there's 1,000 different patterns of wrought iron that we could be choosing from. But I want to remind you that this client of ours is a young fireman and making his career here in Kansas City, and he's doing the right thing by trying to match his new house. I think he's going to be a real stalwart in the community there, and he's doing everything he can to blend in, and tucking it all the way in the back. I like that he's done creates a huge expense on extra driveway.
We've tried to match exactly. We know that you guys have a lot of specific guidelines for your fencing. And we've tried to do, I tried to follow your best example where we're just coming off the back of the house. I saw the different examples of, good, better, best, and we tried to follow that as much as we could.
And the owner, it was his idea to prepare for having a clay tile roof in the future. That's the difference between the 2x6 rafters and the 2x8 rafters, and the small expense there is he was willing to go for it so that he can change his mind down the road and get it, but it's just not in the cards right now.
Oh, excellent. Thank you, Mr. Wood. I think that addresses a lot of these concerns, and I think everyone here does agree that it's quite obvious that your client is doing more than due diligence to attempt to do things right. Commissioner Vice Chair Lachlan, do you have any other commentary in response to Ms. Kenyon's testimony? You're muted.
Yeah, I know. I was too many windows. To Ms. Kenyon's testimony, no, I don't have any other questions. I mean, I appreciate her coming and talking to us, especially as a representative or not of the neighborhood. So.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Same. Commissioner Owens, do you have any response to Ms. Kenyon's testimony?
I thought of an idea. I'm not sure if it's necessarily tied to her testimony, and I'm not sure the most appropriate time to share it, but.
Oh, well, we can do, if you don't mind, we can get Ms. Kenyon moved forward. We can do that in the discussion amongst the commission after this. It's kind of like a catch-all. Commissioner Lake, response to Ms. Kenyon or discussion?
I didn't hear, is it a 3 or 4 foot fence?
3.
Okay, very good. All right, Ms. Kenyon, thank you so much for being here. We deeply appreciate your commitment to Coleman Highlands. It's obvious that you are a passionate member of the neighborhood and a very good steward of history. And so we appreciate you being here today. And we will go ahead and, unless nobody else has any public testimony, we'll go ahead and close the floor. Going once.
Mr. Harden?
Yes, sir.
This is Chris Woods again. The case right behind this one is another one of our cases, and that client is here at our office. This is Sonia Andrews, and I just wanted to, when we start to reconnect with one another on that next case, she's here with us, and
Okay.
Okay.
Perfect. Chris, actually, thank you, Mr. Woods. That is very helpful to know. That way we won't be looking for her in the attendees column. That's excellent.
Yeah, nobody sent me a link, so I just showed up here.
No worries. If it works for you, it works for us. All right, we'll close the floor to further testimony on this case. Allow for discussion amongst the commission. We'll start Vice Chair Laughlin, then Commissioner Owens, then Commissioner Legge, if you still have any commentary after that, and whoever else is on deck. Vice Chair Laughlin, your floor.
My only question maybe for staff, but we usually review the fences just as a point of clarification. So I don't know if that's something that we just say we're comfortable with staff doing, but I'm just curious about this because the certificate of appropriate does not mention.
No, we had, actually mostly we just had the guardrail pictured on the plans. Yeah, we actually didn't address the fence specifically. We might have to do that as a supplemental. But given what their description is, we actually could probably do that administratively because it falls under the best practices for our fencing guide. So we could do it as a supplemental for administrative.
I'm complete. I don't know how my fellow commissioners feel. I can Vice Chair Laughlin and I have a similar sentiment. We both trust you implicitly, Brad. So I think I'm comfortable with Mr. Wolf working with the applicant on that. And it sounds like Vice Chair Laughlin is also. Commissioner Owens, Mr. Board Architect.
Well, I'm starting to have an issue with just the loss of so much green space. And I know that's not necessarily what we're reviewing, but I think the sense of place of this neighborhood has a lot to do with the park setting, being adjacent to Roanoke Park and all the magnificent trees. And it seems like what we're going to end up with here is a giant concrete kind of like sewer leading up to this garage. And I was wondering a couple things. One, why is the garage being set back so far from the street? It seems like if it was brought forward, it would cost less money because you would have to dig out a lot less. It may cause less damage to the greenery, and maybe some of that extra money could be used for like brick on the retaining wall, which I think would really soften the aesthetics of this. Or alternatively, why couldn't the garage be set at the current grade and you just have a little drive up on that small hill to get inside? That may also save a lot of money in the budget. And it's not like it's a super steep hill that you can't get into, when it's icy or something. I'm just wondering if there's a better way to design this so I just want to avoid having so much concrete on this little corner. And I don't know, I don't like the fact that the retaining walls are going to be all concrete. I do think I would like to request brick. And like I said, if we push it forward or don't dig it out, you'd save a lot of money and might be able to spend a little more on something like that. That's just my 2 cents.
I will say I actually like I will respectfully disagree. I actually like the garage being set so far back because I think it doesn't it keeps the focus on the house. You know what I mean? I think that the visual story of this lot if you just follow a driveway up, most people aren't going to be inclined, I think, to like look all the way back and wonder what's back there. They're going to know it's a garage. And I think as a result, they keep their focus on the home. So, but I agree. I would like to see the concrete be brick also, but I think, you know, if it's in keeping with the historical standards for it to be concrete, I don't know if there's a whole lot we can, you know, push on that. Mr. Wolf, do you care to weigh in?
There are a variety of retaining walls, especially on these secondary areas as opposed to along the right of way. Yeah, there is brick, there's limestone, obviously, and there is some poured concrete within the neighborhood, not along the street, but basically along these secondary areas, along driveways, etc. So a lot of them could be appropriate. You know, yeah, there's a balance. You're right. The visibility of the building, the grade, obviously, not raising the garage up and having less of be more in line with the slope would reduce the visibility of the retaining wall quite a bit. So.
Other thoughts on anything else, Mr. Owens?
Oh, no, I will comment that the setback from the line of the house isn't so significant that the garage will disappear. I mean, it's just a few more feet back. And I just feel like with so many of these cases, we're chopping up the green space in everyone's yard so much that if I was the homeowner, I'd want more green space, but that's a personal opinion. So I do still wish that the garage would be brought forward a little bit, but you know, it doesn't mean I won't pass the case.
Right. Mr. Chris Woods, do you know if that is a thing the applicant would have wanted, or did the applicant put it that far back by personal desire, or because they thought that was you guys thought that was most appropriate, or?
Sure, I'll be happy to answer that. My philosophy in working with clients is to listen to them. This was his idea to move it as far back as he possibly could. He did not want to have it on the existing grade because it would be a steep driveway. It would have exceeded a 10% slope. I live in a house that has a 10% slope on it, and during those icy weeks once in a while in Kansas City, it's impossible to get up my 10% driveway without having a real running head start to it. The client wished to have a flatter area so that he could potentially have more space to have cars outside. That's not his intent, but it's just a 10% driveway or more is not comfortable. And I think it would actually, if you raised it up and pushed it forward, it becomes more and more present on the north elevation of the property. And we were trying to kind of diminish its impact by keeping it towards the back and keeping it down. And it was my client's idea, and I'm trying to respond to my client.
Right on. Thank you, sir. I agree. Temperate, that's a pretty steep slope. Commissioner Legge?
Just a couple comments following up with what Commissioner Owens said. I do like bringing it forward, but honestly, I think with the concrete retaining wall, using some landscaping, you could add in some of that visual green space. For the driveway, I'm not sure if they've considered doing something like stamped concrete to look like brick or something, just so it's not that gray concrete. A brick cap on the concrete retaining wall could be an interesting solution that I think Ms. Kenyon brought up. And then last comment, I would encourage the neighbors to communicate and talk to the owner, and maybe, moving forward, try and communicate directly about the tree and some different things like that, just to kind of keep the peace.
Yep, I absolutely agree. I will also state for the record that, again, I am not an arborist, but that is a tremendous amount of distance between that tree's trunk and where the driveway will be going in. And I would be genuinely shocked if the root network is substantial at any place where that driveway will be. Genuinely shocked. But I know that Mr. Woods obviously takes good care when he does these sort of things, as he testified earlier. Any other discussion amongst the commission? It sounds like we all pretty much are on the same page, and I greatly appreciate Mr. Owens and Vice Chair Laughlin and Commissioner Legge for all the input you've provided. You know, this is probably our biggest, most complicated, most complex case of the day. So if is there any other discussion? If not, I'd love someone to make a motion. Any volunteers? Vice Chair Laughlin.
I will make a motion unless anyone else needs to air some grievances. Okay, in case number CHDR 2020-00057 at 3200 Carnes Boulevard in the Coleman Highlands Historic District, I move that the commission approve a certificate of appropriateness to construct a garage and driveway on this property as it is in conformance with the Secretary of the Interior Standards for Rehabilitation numbers 2, 9, and 10, and that the proposal would include using a door that mimics at least 2 individual garage doors, and that the applicant will work with city staff on the design of the guardrail/fence.
May I make one friendly amendment?
Please do.
And the applicant will also work with city staff on any landscaping that they put in.
I accept that.
Okay, very good. Motion has been made. I see Commissioner Legge, your hand is up. Motion has been seconded, made by Vice Chair Laughlin, seconded by Commissioner Legge. Is there any discussion on the motion? Okay, hearing none. Commissioner Legge, how do you vote?
Aye.
Dr. Guth, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Courtney, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Owens, how do you vote?
Aye.
And Vice Chair Laughlin, how do you vote?
Aye.
And I will also vote aye. Mr. Woods, thank you so much for being here for your client today. We appreciate all the work you guys do, and your case has passed. Thank you so much. And we will we'll note for the next case, Mr. Wolf, that well, Ms. Roulette, we don't have to re-swear in. We just need to note that both Misters Wood have been sworn in.
Yeah, I think that's fine. And then just swear the applicant.
Okay.
The owner, yeah.
All right, very good. Mr. Wolf, I'd like to call case number CH-DR-2020-00058 concerning 3208 Summit Street in the Coleman Highlands Historic District. The applicant is here. Ma'am, can you at your convenience, at your leisure, go ahead and state your name and address for the record and then raise your right hand for the oath.
Hi, I am Sonia Andrews at 3208 Summit Street.
Very good. Your right hand? Yes. You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Very good. Mr. Wolf, the staff report lists exhibits A through what?
Through O.
All right. Are there any new exhibits for the record? Are there any new exhibits for the record?
No new exhibits.
Sorry. Thank you. All right. The staff report lists exhibits A through O for the record. Is there any objection to admitting A through O? Hearing none from my fellow commissioners, they are so admitted. Mr. Wolf, we will proceed. Sorry, my allergies are killing me today. We'll proceed with the staff report.
Property address is 328 Summit Street. It's a contributing property in the Coleman Highlands Historic District. This is the north and main facade of the house, which faces east. And this is the south side of the house. As you can see, there's an existing driveway along the south side. And the proposal will basically locate a garage in the backyard and extend the existing driveway. So this was the south side of the house, and you can see the proposed garage located in the rear yard. It's basically a 1.5 story garage. It's 24 by 24. It'll be clad in LP smart lap siding with cedar shingles in the gable end and decorative half timbering. It will have a composition shingle roof to match the house and will be painted in the house's existing color scheme. The garage door will be double wide, but will have minimal visibility from the public right of way. And the concrete driveway will be replaced and extended back to the proposed garage. So here are the elevations of the garage, and you can see color rendering showing the paint scheme. The proposed garage is compatible with other garage styles in Coleman Highlands Historic District. The size and massing will not affect any significant spaces and conform to standard number 2. And the proposed design is compatible with the district and the house and conform to standard number 9. The double wide garage doors will not be very visible, so they are appropriate in this particular case. And the garage can be removed in the future without harming the integrity of the property and conforms to standard number 10. And that concludes the staff report.
Very good. All right. Thank you, Mr. Wolf. Questions for staff? I'll start. I have just one. You know, usually, Mr. Wolf, in Coleman Highlands, we usually see single story or just barely story and a half. Sorry, excuse me, just barely story and a half garages. But is it your professional opinion that, given the size and massing of the house, that this is an appropriate sized garage?
It is. Actually, we've under the case, we actually have approved 3 of these types of garages in Coleman Highlands before.
Actually, they were all for this style of home, right? The shirtwaist.
Yeah, the shirtwaist, the larger homes. So basically, they were all 2.5 story houses, so they were kind of appropriate to the size and scale.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Wolf. That's my only question. Fellow commissioners. All right, crickets. That means we will, not even crickets, total silence. All right, so we will close the floor to questions for staff and allow the applicants an opportunity to testify about their project.
I'm gonna let my client, Sonia Andrews, take this lead here for a moment.
Very good, Mr. Woods. Ms. Andrews?
Well, I guess if you guys don't have a lot of questions, I'm not sure what you'd like me to speak about, other than I'm super excited to have a garage, which I don't have at the moment. If there are any specific questions you have for me, I'm happy to answer them.
All right. Thank you so much, Ms. Andrews. We will then close the floor to applicant testimony, allow for an opportunity for the commission to ask questions of the applicant. I saw both Ms. Legg and Mr. Owens. Commissioner Legg? Nope, that's good. That's a kill it. Okay. Commissioner Owens?
Yes, this may be a question more for the architects. Is the proposed slope of this garage roof, is that to match the front porch of the existing home?
It's a 412 pitch. The pitch was chosen primarily because of rules in the city development, city planning and development about how high a building can be. The rule is from grade to a point that's essentially midpoint up the roof can be no higher than 16 feet. And that's exactly where we are. We are at 15 foot 11 and a half. And the only pitch that really works and still keeps some good usable space on the second floor was a 412 pitch. And the fact that it was so far back, and although the address of this is Summit, it's also Southwest Traffic Way.
Yes, where no one stops ever.
And people that do stop there are at risk of having their cars run into. I've seen accidents on Southwest Traffic Way with cars.
Mm-hmm.
So I felt like the change from the, I don't think it's a 12-12, but it's probably a 10-12 pitch on the majority of the house. I just didn't think it was that important to try to follow. and it would not have been able to get as much usable space on the second floor. And I don't know if those drawings are available to you, but I tweaked that formula of 16 feet many times over in order to maximize the second floor, but still keep under 16 feet. And the rule is top of the plate to the top of the ridge. What's a halfway point? And that's, we are there minus 1/2 of an inch.
All right, thank you.
Very good. Commissioner Legg, then Vice Chair Lachlan.
2 questions. One is just, I'm curious, is the second level storage? And 2, will they, or will you guys be retaining a gate on the driveway, or is that just going to completely go away?
Yes, so we will be retaining a gate on the driveway. We have dogs and I have a 2-year-old, so, and we live on Southwest Traffic Way. So if I can have like 20 different gates, I would to keep them all safe. But yeah, we'll probably be installing an electric gate so that we don't have to get out of the car every time we want to, you know, open it and drive into the garage. But it'll still be the same fencing material. It'll probably just have like, you know, whatever the metal frame, you know, for behind the wooden fencing. So it should look the same. As far as the second story, for what we're going to use it for is basically, I'm an illustrator, painter, and I have a 2-year-old, and I can't get anything done with her inside the house. So basically, I'm just going to be using that as my own personal, private, non-child occupied space. So.
Very good. Thank you. Vice Chair Lachlan.
Yeah, my one question just has to do with the design of the window facing the street, the front window. And I just was curious if you would consider putting windows in that vaguely match what's on the house. I know this is a sliding window, and that it just seems incongruous to me to have that type of window in this.
Yeah, no, I understand. The reason why we were thinking about going with this particular type of window is because the stairwell is going to be fairly narrow. It's going to be difficult to get certain types of furniture like a desk or whatever up there. So it would be, we could easily remove the window and put furniture in through it. I mean, I could probably just try to get furniture that fits through the narrow stairwell. That's also a possibility. I'm not opposed to doing a like a double hung window either. It's just, I figured we might, yeah, I mean, it would be like cost and then just, you know, the usability of, you know, what I can put into the space is a concern. So if we can find stuff that will fit up that space, then we might decide to go with a double hung instead. It'll just depend on, we've had some cost changes over the, you know how like the supply chain is being kind of a big bear right now, and like everything is $1 billion. So we're just trying to work those changes. And one of the issues with that is that, you know, the cost is changing all the time, and we can't even if this were approved a week ago, we can't start building until the city is done tearing out part of the sewer line in the backyard. So like, as we're waiting for that to happen and costs are increasing, it's like I'm haven't been quite ready to make a final decision on what I want to do about the specific window yet. But this is where we're at the moment. So.
Makes sense. It almost, I don't know if it's even a possibility, we're talking about cost, but like having a hatch or something on the floor inside the garage where you could just kind of, I mean, I've literally put stuff through windows before, like to move into a second story. So I totally understand your concern with the narrow stair.
Right on. Commissioner Legg again.
Just a comment following up with that. I think it would look much better with a double hung window or a double hung window.
I think you mean 2 double hung windows or single hung windows. I don't think we can get a single hung or double hung window that's 5 foot wide. I think you're talking about 2. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or even 3, matching kind of what's on the 3rd floor of the house.
Right on. Other questions for the applicant and develop contractor? Okay, hearing none, we'll close the floor to this portion of the testimony and ask if there's any member of the audience who would like to testify. I see Ms. Kenyon is back before us. Ms. Kenyon, are you here to testify about this project, offer input and commentary?
No, I was just watching and learning. Thank you.
Oh, fantastic. Very good. Very good. Very good. Mr. Wolf, is there anybody else who has indicated? I don't see any.
There are
hands.
not.
I think at this point we're probably down to the end of it. All right. Very good. Noting that there is no member of the audience who would like to testify, we will close the floor to further testimony, allow for discussion amongst the commission or perhaps a motion. I concur. I would prefer to see 2 double hung windows there and like a hatch inside the garage if that's a possibility, but I also completely understand the applicant's concern. I also know, having lived in old buildings before, what it's like to try and move things up narrow stairs. So I'm comfortable with staff working with the applicant and the designer on that.
Yeah, so there's a couple possibilities we can look at that'd give them the access and maybe even look like a double hung. So yeah, I'll just work with them as you get closer to that point.
Cool.
Yeah, that would be great if you have any ideas of ways we could make it look like a double window or something like that would be more traditional and still allow me to like remove panels if I need to put like, I don't know, a giant painting up there or something.
Yes.
Right. Very good. Any other comments or discussion, or perhaps we're ready for someone brave enough to make a motion? Commissioner Owens.
Go ahead and make the motion unless somebody else had any other comments.
I think you're good. Floor is yours.
Okay. In case number CHDR 2020-00058 at 3208 Summit Street within the Coleman Highlands Historic District, I move that the commission approve a certificate of appropriateness to, to construct a garage and replace the driveway as it is in conformance with the Secretary of Interior standards for rehabilitation number 2, 9, and 10, with the stipulation that the applicant worked with city staff on the final design of the 2nd-story windows.
All right. Very good. Is there a second? Commissioner Legg?
I'll second.
Okay. Motion was made by Commissioner Owens, seconded by Commissioner Legg. Is there any discussion on the motion? Hearing none. We will go right down the screen. Commissioner Legg, how do you vote?
Aye.
Dr. Guth, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Courtney, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Owens, how do you vote?
Aye.
And Vice Chair Laughlin, how do you vote?
Aye.
And I also vote aye. Thank you so much. Good luck with your project. And we appreciate, again, ma'am, not only your historic stewardship of your house, but Mr. Woods, also your skill and care in dealing with historic properties as well. So thank you both so much. And we will look forward
for all your effort. Thank you.
Well, be well. All right, Mr. Wolf.
Thank you.
Real fast, can I say something? Can we take a quick break?
Yes, Commissioner Courtney, we can take a 5-minute recess. I'll go ahead and give us a 5-minute recess. Mr. Wolf, what case am I calling before the 5-minute recess or after the 5-minute recess?
59. So.
All right, I'll call case number CH-DR-2020-00059 concerning 4464 Rock Hill Terrace after our 5-minute recess. Mr. Wolf, is this our last application for the day?
Yes, it's our last design review. So.
Very good. Mr. Bliven, we'll be right back in 5 minutes. Good girl. Yeah. Okay, as soon as we get Ms. Roulette back, and we can confirm that Ms. Freed and Mr. Bliven are back and ready to go, we'll start back up. Okay, got Mr. Bliven. Very good. Wait for Ms. Roulette for just a second, then we'll get started.
I have a hard stop at 11, just an FYI, so I might be, depending on how long this case takes.
Okay.
There we go.
Okay. So we're back. I've already called case number CH-DR-2020-00059. Mr. Bliven, will you please state your name and address for the record, and then raise your right hand for the oath?
Yes, Patrick Bliven, 4464 Rock Hill Terrace, and raising my right hand.
Very good. Sir, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Excellent. Mr. Wolf, the staff report lists exhibits A through what?
O.
Again, all right. It's an A through O kind of day. The staff report lists exhibits A through O. Are there any new exhibits for the record?
There are no new exhibits.
Is there any opposition from my fellow commissioners? Okay, if not, they're so admitted. And we will begin with the staff report.
Property address is 4464 Rock Hill Terrace. It's a non-contributing property in the Rock Hill Historic District. Really, the focus of this is actually basically landscaping, retaining wall, and fencing. So the applicant's proposing to basically install a 4-foot wrought iron fence along the front yard, including a pedestrian gate and an auto gate, and then it'll go back to the back. But as part of that, the existing retaining wall will remain in place. The front sidewalk entry, which is relatively narrow, which is only 2.5 feet wide, will be actually enlarged to 4.5 feet wide. And then basically a planting bed will be installed, and then a secondary retaining wall will be installed above that, approximately the same height as the existing. The idea is there's a kind of a steady grade to the yard. It's actually to flatten out the yard. As you can see here, there's actually basically a series of steps that go up to the front. Basically, it would be a basically leveling it out with a sidewalk of basically rock pavers going up to the front gate and that secondary wall, which would be located a couple of feet back from the existing wall. The applicant actually basically went around the neighborhood and was looking for similar examples. These are some of the ones throughout the neighborhood with the fencing and the wall design. So applicant is proposing basically a 4-foot, basically using this classic timeless fence design to look like wrought iron. It's black aluminum picket with basically you can see a pedestrian gate and then an auto gate. And then along the side yard, the fence will basically extend back to connect with some existing fences of the neighbors. The proposed wrought iron fence is 4 feet in height, and it's compatible with fence designs in the district and conforms to standard number 9. The widening of the sidewalk, the construction of the limestone planter, and the use of materials are compatible with the district and conforms to standards 2 and 9. And the fence can be removed in the future without harming the integrity of the property and conforms to standard number 10. And that concludes the staff report.
Very good. Any questions for Mr. Wolf? Okay, hearing none. Oh, sorry, Commissioner Owens.
Quick question. I'm assuming the new tier of wall will also be made out of similar materials.
Matching limestone, yes.
Perfect. Okay.
Excellent. If there are no other questions, we'll allow Mr. Bliven an opportunity to testify about his project.
Yeah, I just want to say, appreciate the process, and we really did spend a lot of time focusing on how to conform to existing installations throughout the neighborhood. The Rock Hill neighborhood has some diverse architectural styles, and there's also some consistencies throughout the neighborhood. So we really try to focus on the particular style of our home and also the consistencies throughout the neighborhood. So really wanted to stay true to the character, and I think we've done that. So hopefully the commission finds the same.
Mr. Bliven, thank you. I can say that, well, one, you have a beautiful house and your landscaping is beautiful, and it's obvious that you've taken very good care to, make sure that you are a good neighbor and a good steward of our Kansas City history. Questions for Mr. Bliven?
Thank you.
Vice Chair Laughlin?
Yeah, it's more of a comment. I really appreciate the thoroughness of the application, and that even though you're non-contributing to the district, you definitely have taken the time and the care to make something that fits well with the neighborhood. So I just wanted to say thank you.
Well, I will absolutely.
Generous,
absolutely.
Both of you.
Sorry, yes, thank you. I'll absolutely echo Vice Chair Laughlin. Very good. If there are no other questions or comments for the applicant, going once, going twice, okay. We will ask if there's any member of the audience who would like to testify at this time. Please raise your hand. Okay, hearing none, we will go ahead and close the floor to further testimony from the public. We'll allow for opportunity for discussion amongst the commission or perhaps a motion. Vice Chair Laughlin?
I will make a motion if no one else wants to. Okay, in case number CHDR 2020-00059 at 4464 Rock Hill Terrace in the Rock Hill Historic District, I move that the commission approve a certificate of appropriateness to construct the fence, replace the sidewalk and steps, and modify and construct a retaining wall and planter and grade yard on the property, even though it's a non-contributing property to the district. And I think that these are in conformance with the Secretary of the Interior standards for rehabilitation, numbers 2, 9, and 10.
Very good. Motion has been made. Is there a second? Commissioner Owens, your hand was up first.
Yep, second.
Very good. Dr. Guth, you also were going to second? All right. Motion was made, seconded by Commissioner Owens and Dr. Guth. Is there any discussion on the motion? Okay. Hearing none, we'll do a roll call vote in the order I have on my screen. Commissioner Courtney, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Owens, how do you vote?
Aye.
Vice Chair Laughlin, how do you vote?
Aye.
Dr. Guth, how do you vote?
Aye.
And Commissioner Legge, how do you vote?
Aye.
Very good. I vote aye as well. This motion passes 6-0. Mr. Bliven, thank you so much for your stewardship of this property, and we look forward to seeing you before us again.
Thank you. Have a great day, everyone.
Very good. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Wolf, and there was one thing left.
Yes, just a couple 106 items. Basically, we had some exempt items that were reviewed by staff, and then we have a few non-exempt cases. Basically, all of those. Basically, for the non-exempt, we have case numbers 2020-HUD-0049, 3700 Tracy Avenue. Case number 2020-HUD-0053, 1104 Monroe Avenue. Case number 2020-HUD-0057, 5426 North Denver Avenue. Case number 2020-HUD-0058, 4226 North Brighton Avenue. Case number 2020-HUD-0073, 5537 Swope Parkway. And case number 2020-HUD-0074, 7530 Harrison Street. All these have exhibits A through F for the record.
Very good. Is there an opposition to admitting exhibits A through F? Okay, hearing none, they are so admitted. We'll proceed with the staff report. Mr. Wolf.
So basically, items 25 through 29 on your agenda. Basically, staff looked at all these. Basically, they're all minor home repair, but basically, we had a Kansas City shirtwaist, a couple of vernacular ranch houses, and a couple of vernacular bungalows. Staff thought all of these were common styles, and most of the areas didn't have district potential, so staff thought all of these were not eligible for listing, and therefore the projects would have no effect on historic properties. And then the last case, which was number 49, 3700 Tracy Avenue. This is actually a contributing property in the Squire Park Historic District. Really, the focus of this work is actually on the back porch, which is, you can kind of see from there. Obviously, the house has already been clad in vinyl siding, for better or for worse. So most of the work is basically redoing this porch. They will be, of course, adding vinyl siding and redoing the existing, adding new windows, wrapping the existing trim and soffits on the back porch is really the main focus of this minor home repair. Staff generally, since this is a secondary feature, that it would really have no adverse effect on the character of the property. And that concludes the staff reports for all of those.
Very good. Are there questions for Mr. Wolf? I guess I'll just make the comment and say, I know I sound like a broken record when I say this, but at a certain point, we're going to run out of some inventory in some of these neighborhoods that are not currently, that I wish there was I feel like we are losing a lot of our East Side historic inventory. And I know that there's a lot of reason for that, and there's, where there's new development, that's obviously good for the neighborhood, but it's just hopefully that we are trying to be mindful of our historic properties and non-historic districts. Any other questions or comments for Mr. Wolf? Okay. Hearing none, I'll ask if there's any member of the audience who'd like to testify. Please raise your hands in the attendees panel. Okay. Hearing no public testimony, we'll close the floor to all testimony and allow for opportunity for discussion amongst the commission, or perhaps a motion. Vice Chair Laughlin.
I'll make a motion.
The floor is yours.
In case numbers 2020 HUD-0053, 0057, 0058, 0073, and 0074, I move that the commission accepts staff recommendation on these proposed projects on these properties, and that the proposed projects will have no effect on historic properties.
Very good. Motion has been made by Commissioner Laughlin. Commissioner Legge?
I'll second.
Motion made by Vice Chair Laughlin, seconded by Commissioner Legge. Is there any discussion on the motion? Okay, hearing none, we'll go roll call again so we don't all talk over each other in the era of Zoom. Commissioner Courtney, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Owens, how do you vote?
Aye.
Vice Chair Laughlin, how do you vote?
Aye.
Dr. Guth, how do you vote?
Aye.
And Commissioner Legge, how do you vote?
Aye.
And I also vote aye. By a vote of 6-0, this does pass. Mr. Wolf?
There was a second motion actually for 49, sorry.
Sorry, Commissioner Laughlin, your floor again.
This was sent in an email that I happened to see right before the meeting, so thank you, Brad.
You're welcome, sorry.
I will make the motion in case number 2020-HUD-0049. I move that the commission accepts the staff recommendation that the proposed project in this case will have no adverse effect on historic properties.
Motion has been made. Dr. Guth? Oh, sorry. Commissioner Owens, I missed on the screen. You had your hand up first?
No problem. I was just gonna offer a second.
Very good. Motion made by Vice Chair Laughlin, seconded by Commissioner Owens. Is there any discussion amongst the commission on the motion? Hearing none, we'll roll call again. Commissioner Courtney, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Owens, how do you vote?
Aye.
Vice Chair Laughlin, how do you vote?
Aye.
Dr. Guth, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Legge, how do you vote?
Aye.
All right, and I vote aye as well. By a vote of 6-0, this does pass. Now, sorry, Mr. Wolf, what is next?
No other regular business. The only other item I mentioned, which in the email, City Plan Commission's gone back to a hybrid meeting. I didn't know if you were interested in trying to pursue that yet or not for our August meeting.
I mean, I would be fine with it, but I sense some hesitation amongst my fellow commissioners.
I said there's no rush. I was just, if you want me to pursue that, I can. If you want to wait until the September meeting, we can do that.
I would.
Does that mean that we would be at City Hall and also Zooming?
Yeah. Basically, City Plan Commission had some of the commissioners there and some on Zoom. So and then there's one applicant and the other applicants are all Zoom based. So
I would personally say, let's give it one more month of this and then reevaluate, but that's just my feeling, and I will defer to my fellow commissioners.
I agree. Sorry,
No, that's okay. Go ahead.
I will actually be quarantined at the end of September. So I will be Zoom for the next 2 meetings and then likely out for October, just FYI.
okay.
I will also say that, you know, as our school reopening plans continue to unfold, I have no idea at what point, you know, I might even I'll have to seek guidance from our school safety, our district safety and security committee on, you know, what my attendance in person looks like in case that presents a problem for going back into the school building or anything like that. So we'll see. For me as well, Dr. Guth.
Yep.
I'm an at-risk person, so I would prefer to be on Zoom as long as there's any risk of COVID-19.
Okay.
Vice Chair Lachlan and then Commissioner Owens.
Yeah, I would just say that I'm more comfortable doing Zoom for now.
Okay. Commissioner Owens.
Yeah, I really miss City Hall, but next meeting, I'm going to be quarantining because I'm going to Alaska the week before. So I shouldn't put anyone at risk by showing up in public. So
Fair. And have fun. That sounds great. That's awesome. And then Commissioner Courtney.
I pretty much agree with everybody. Zoom's good for me right now.
Okay. So I think it sounds like we'll, at least for August, we'll revisit, but we'll plan on Zoom again in August, as long as that's okay with Mr. Wolf, our Historic Preservation Officer.
Yep, sounds good.
Okay.
And also, you'll be getting an email or a call from a Cookingham Knoll fellow from the city manager's office. They're pulling the commissions for board makeup. So they'll have a couple questions for you. Just FYI.
Okay.
So hopefully we'll get around to appointing new people here soon.
Very good. That would be great. Right on. Well, nobody else has anything to add. I did adopt a new corgi, if you want to meet her.
Oh, yes.
And she's a cardigan, so she's looks a little different. They come in brindle.
Oh.
Oakley. This is Annie Oakley.
Where did you adopt her from?
She is a retired mama from a breeder. She just had she and her, actually, we've got her mom also, Stella, is somewhere. Stella, it's my opportunity it'll be my opportunity weekly, because she doesn't listen ever, to reenact A Streetcar Named Desire in my backyard. No, they both were mamas at a breeding mamas at a small farm where they have about 7 corgis, and they just both had 2